Hello, beautiful, amazing people. This is Megan here with Core3 Harmony and Wellness Services. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate each and every subscriber for hanging in there, sticking with me. And if you happen to not be a subscriber, please subscribe. My goal is to go live every Tuesday, noon Pacific Standard Time, for no more than 20 to 30 minutes. Here at Core3, I think it's important to provide information that is uplifting, inspiring, and encouraging. And today is going to be a very unique topic, but in my efforts and due diligence to stay aware, stay grounded, and stay aware of all things occurring in the world, I believe it's very important to share this information, and specifically depending on what area, what country you are living in. But before I get into all of that, I thank you once again so much. Please subscribe if you are not a subscriber, and please provide this video a thumbs up. I so appreciate your time. I so appreciate you allowing me to enter into your worlds wherever you are via this platform. I'm very grateful. Here at Core3, we provide 3 areas of services. That is music therapy, counseling, and coaching. And how I like to divvy up counseling and coaching is that counseling is provided for those who indeed have a clinical need for support, and coaching is more so for those who don't necessarily have a clinical need for support, but are in need of support otherwise. So for example, someone may specifically be dealing with the challenges of anxiety and or depression, but they've got a lot of other stressors in their life that they know and feel is heavily impacting them. So those are some differences between counseling and coaching. Music therapy is the use of therapeutic music interventions within a therapeutic relationship that's helping to actually achieve non-musical goals. So utilizing music is the driving force, is the main entity in that specific relationship or interaction. So reach out. Our information to contact us is in the description box. Reach out to us if you have any questions, or you are in need yourself or know someone in need of some specific help. We would love to speak with them, get more information, and see if we are a good fit for their current needs. All right, today is a very unique topic and discussion. Without pressing too heavily into specific sides, it is always good to be aware of how to keep yourself safe and to protect yourself. We are living in some very, I want to also say, exciting times, but also very difficult, challenging times right now with entities that we have battling for power and control. Okay. And so in the midst of that, there's many of us here on this planet that we are just trying to live and enjoy this amazing ability that we have in our bodies to move around, interact, talk, eat, enjoy the planet for all its many facets. For those of us who are just trying to live and just trying to be responsible of ourselves and our things, we find ourselves a lot of times impacted by the decisions and choices and expectations of others. And in that is why it is so amazing to have individuals like myself and many others out in the helping professions, therapists, coaches, um, uh, spiritual leaders, helping to guide us and helping us to maintain connection with our values and our purpose. Okay, so for today, I want to share with you some information regarding how to prepare and how to keep yourself um, in case of a nuclear explosion. Now, here's the thing. I remember learning about this quite a bit through various pinpoints of covering history in school. And specifically, um, at the time, those still living, hearing stories of individuals having drills and prepping for some sort of atomic or nuclear attack, and having places to go to keep safe, particularly underground, whether that's basements or having some kind of shelters. And depending on where you live, you might already have those things anyway, especially for the individuals who are in high tornado areas. They kind of are potentially may already be aware of some of the stuff I'm going to share today. But for some of us who don't have those things, like for example, I'm on the West Coast, particularly I'm in California, and the things that we are encouraged, of course, to be prepared for are earthquakes. Well, those potentially are few and far between. And when we are having quakes or so-called tremors, and we can have those daily, they're very small and minimal. It's nothing majorly huge that we are impacted by that can cause significant damage. So the quakes are those big, large quakes, for the most part, are far in between within year spans, like 7 years, it's been 10 years, it's been, 8 years since a 6 point whatever, what have you, earthquake. So some of this information may be somewhat familiar, but I want you to really focus in on the very unique aspects in which how to keep yourself and your family and your pets safe. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Now bear with me. For many of you that have been tuned in to me here, I'm learning my tech skills, okay? So just bear with me here. I'm gonna attempt to share my screen so that you can see my slide and the main points I want to discuss today. So, do this. Okay, hopefully you can see this. And I appreciate you for focusing in with me right here. I appreciate your attention so very much. Okay, so today we are focusing on how do we stay safe during a nuclear explosion. And this information I accumulated and gathered from both FEMA and Red Cross. So for those of you who do not know, FEMA, particularly here within the United States, is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Okay, they are the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Okay, so where do you go in a radiation emergency? It's very important that you are aware of key places to shelter and to protect yourself in case of a radiation emergency. Now, I know that there are certain continents, there's certain countries, they have potentially unique emergency distress signals. Now, here's the thing. I know, speaking just from my experience, I I know being in California, since we've had a number of very devastating fires, um, I have signed up and I get text alerts. So I'm signed up with my local county emergency system to get alerts. Now, there's some people that they don't want to be bugged by that or they don't like that. I know for me that that's one way I try to keep and stay informed. Some counties, some states, some cities might have actual distress emergency signals, and if that is so, it's important to understand what those are. Like, I'll give you an example. A workplace I was at some years ago, they had whistleblower blasts, and a certain number of these blasts meant that specific emergency. So, like, say, for example, 2 blasts would be a fire. There's somewhere there was a fire in the facility. And then, like, 3 blasts would be an earthquake or something like that, right? So it's important to know what those are. And if you don't find out, you can reach out to your local, I want to say your local police station and or hospital station and get an understanding of what maybe those distress signals are. Even your fire department would know. But whatever your emergency protection entities are, reach out to them to find out information. So this picture here is a great picture of key places to shelter yourself in case there is some sort of radiation emergency in your area. Preferably away from windows and doors. So you'll notice here in this picture, it says places that are not safe, places that are okay, and the places in green are indeed the best and most safest places you and your loved ones and pets and all that good stuff can be. Notice each area. It is as far away from as possible from windows and doors and access to outside. So it depends on what building that you're in, your home, your house. If you happen to be, in a high rise or something like that, where is the best place to be potentially in that high rise? Okay. So this is just a great picture to have to look at. Okay, now how to best to protect yourself in case you have a nuclear blast. According to FEMA, there are 6 important stages of a nuclear weapon impact. Number 1 is a bright flash caused by a huge fireball, which can cause temporary blindness. Now, this is something, of course, these are visible signs. You may not be outside at the time when this happens, but I guarantee you, you will definitely either hear or feel a big boom, and potentially, if you're definitely in a place where there's windows, you will see like an unusual, like bright flash, okay, within the room that you're in. There's also called a blast wave, which actually can flatten buildings and cause serious injury or death. And this wave can take several seconds to reach you. So it's one of those things of like, I give you an example of, you can hear a plane up above. You can maybe see the jet stream and you're like, okay, where's the plane? And the plane is already somewhere else, not near or close to you, but it's like that after effect. So that is something in which can occur. I want to say almost similar to just be very cautious that you're not near windows, anything that could shatter or break or fall on you. You want to try to, almost like earthquake mode, cover yourself with something that could potentially protect you, but also not hurt you. So that's a tricky place to navigate. But I think you would know, like, you wouldn't want to be, next to like a heavy bookshelf that could fall on you, or a lamp or some sort of furniture or something. A pulse of nuclear radiation. This could occur. So, I'm speaking not from someone who's had experience of being in a nuclear blast or radiation, thank God. But we have the fortunate ability to like see movies or films where maybe potentially you've seen this reenacted for you. So you can potentially sense that there will be very unusual, unique sounds in regards to this blast, unlike any you've ever encountered before, that will alert and alarm you and your body to brace itself for safety. Okay. Now there's also fire and heat, which can cause out of control fires. Okay, so you want to be very cautious of that, particularly in what kind of building you're in. Potentially the building you're in may not be safe for very long if it's heavily damaged. So that's something to be alert and aware of. Or even buildings around you could all of a sudden just explode and burst in flames. There's also an electromagnetic pulse, which can disable devices for miles around. So cell phone service most likely is going to not be happening. How and in what way? Like, I shared getting text updates. So if my phone is out, how and in what way at that point am I going to get information? And so as we talk more, we're going to talk about that, okay? A radioactive fallout. This is contaminated particles kicked into the air by a blast. It can take up to 15 minutes to arrive. High altitude winds can make it sprinkle over hundreds of miles, though it's most intense near the blast site. So do recall that if this is happening, just because you're like, okay, I'm safe from that initial attack or blast right now, you still have to be very alert, very vigilant and very vigilant and diligent about what it is that you need to take your next steps to ensure that you stay and remain safe, okay? And this is something that, of course, I know you are potentially aware of, that nuclear blasts, that they are, and weapons, they are very, very deadly and dangerous, and their impact on a major city can just wipe out tens of thousands of people. Okay, so I hope that whatever caused you to look at this today, I hope you will really pause and just take in this information and become aware of what you can do to protect yourself and keep yourself safe. How to best protect yourself, surviving the fallout. So 3 factors. We're looking at distance, shielding, and time. The more distance you have between the fallout of particles, the better. So an underground area such as a home or office building basement can offer the best protection than maybe the first floor of a building, right? Shielding. The heavier and denser the materials, thick walls, concrete, bricks, earth between you and the fallout particles, the better. Okay. Time. Fallout radiation loses its intensity fairly rapidly. So in time, you'll be able to leave the fallout shelter. But radioactive fallout poses the greatest threat to people during the first, get this, 2 weeks, by which it has declined at about 1% of its initial radiation level. So if something like this goes down in your area, and of course I absolutely hope this never happens, but we have to do our due diligence. And those of us who are just trying to live and do life and with the less harm and impact on others as possible, it's important you are educated and you are aware of this, that if this occurs where you live, this is not just something you recover in 3 or 4 days. This is going to take years, okay? But the initial dangers of it is in the first few weeks, okay? How to prepare. So the American Red Cross advises to build an emergency preparedness kit. And this kit has to include water, food, a flashlight, medication, any kind of medication, of course, you are taking If you can, ask the pharmacist for an extra bottle. And don't touch that. Always just keep that with you, or an inhaler, whatever it is that you need that's prepped. Be aware of the, what am I looking for? Be aware of the expiration date. I know for me, what helps me, I'm gonna take a drink of water. I will put it in my phone on my calendar to alert me that this thing is getting ready to expire. So, because my little brain could only take in the information needed for the day or the week, not like 6 months down the road. So find a way to notate it where you know the expert of the medicine you set aside for your emergency kit. And there are other items. If you are looking up or wondering what other things you should have in your kit specifically to a nuclear or radioactive sorry, lost for words here. If you are looking for something specifically to a nuclear or radioactive emergency kit, something unique specifically for that, you can look that up and find it. And the Red Cross, believe it or not, has a lot of great information there. And I hope to have time. I may go over my time today. I apologize if I do, but I think this information is important. I don't want to rush too quickly. So there are specific things you would need for your emergency kit, specifically pertaining to nuclear radioactive emergencies. Look out for fallout shelters available in community. Are there any? If there aren't, or you have no clue, like I said, reach out to your emergency and protective departments, your fire department, your police department, your hospitals. Like what are they prepared to do if this thing happens? It will give you some guidance. Okay. Build a plan for your family in case of disaster. Discuss with your family what it's going to look like, what it is that you're going to do, how you're going to prepare for things. Okay. It's very, very important to do that. And try to do that at least once a year, to sit down and go over, these are things we're going to do when X, Y, in case X, Y, and Z happens. Learn ahead of time which channels to use to get notifications from official sources. So, case in point, cell phones, cell towers, all of that is out. We go back. This is why I think it's good to never completely run away from the bare bone basics. We go back to our AM, FM crank radio. We go back to those very basics where we can get some connections via the satellites and antennas and things that have not been affected by these blasts, that you can get some information from. Okay, what to do if you get a notification of imminent attack? Number one, seek shelter. We go back here. What do we want? Distance, shielding, and time. Okay, so think about it. Distance, shielding, and time. We seek shelter. We get protection and protect ourselves from bodily harm and blast from the radiation and fallout. Okay, if you're driving, pull over, get out, and make your way into a building. Do not stay outside or exposed. Okay, seek shelter indoors, preferably underground if that's possible, or in a brick or concrete building. So if you happen to run into a building that's all glass, you might want to rethink what kind of building you're running into, or if that's the only thing close by. Find a stairwell. Find something that's enclosed that's much more protective than that actual outer shell building may have. Okay, so go as far underground as possible if you can. If that's not possible, try to stay, as I shared, in the center of the building or a stairwell. Deeper and lower in the building, the better, because you're further away from windows and doors, exterior walls, and you better your odds of protection. Okay, and this is what I shared earlier. Think of the same kinds that one would do it in a tornado. For those of you in areas where you have tornadoes, you kind of grasp what you need to do to already take care of yourself from the elements. Okay. Do not be curious and look at the fireball. this is potentially very damaging to your eyes, even to the point of causing you to become blind. So don't be curious and looking. What you should be doing is seeking shelter, seeking protection from the elements. Stay tuned. Like I shared, mobile networks most likely will be interrupted and not working, but utilize radio. So this is why, you know, for me lately, I've been thinking like holiday time, like my terminology, foo-foo gifts, I don't need that. But, looking at what things would I need in the midst of an emergency? An old school crank up radio, like please give me that for Christmas, right? Walkie talkies or something, right? Batteries. That's the kind of stuff that's essential and needed for you during times like this. So humans and pets should stay inside for at least 24 hours until instructed to do otherwise. And if you're in a predicament and you cannot hear or do not know what's going on, this is why it's important to have something where you can keep track of time. I think of these movies sometimes we watch where there was something I watched on Netflix, and she didn't have, wasn't able to charge her smart watch, and cell phone had died or broke or something like that, and she was keeping a marker of her time between sunup and sundown, and making a mark with a rock against another rock as the number of days that she had been out. So find a way to mark time for yourself as far as number of days. So you're thinking, okay, 24 hours. Like initially, I don't believe you're going to be losing track of 3-5 days, but potentially going beyond that. It just might be good to throw in an old school calendar in your emergency bag so you can check off and mark off time frames to reference from, especially if it could be something going on for a long time and you need to keep track and you don't have your devices to do that. Okay, if you're outside when a blast hits, shelter from the wave. So take cover behind anything that could protect you and lay flat on the ground, and please cover your head. Don't assume that the blast has passed you, because it could take 30 seconds for the wave to reach you. This is per the Red Cross's information. After the blast wave passes, you want to limit exposure to radiation. If you're still outside, cover your mouth with a cloth or a towel, which can reduce the amount of radioactive fallout that you breathe in. Please know that if something truly like this goes down, everything's contaminated. Everything's contaminated. Even the air that you're breathing. Okay? Here's another thing. It would be beneficial too to potentially throw in, and I know we've had an abundance of these the past couple of years, throw in some masks in your emergency kit specifically pertaining to nuclear atomic blasts, okay? Throw some masks in there to extra layer protection due to the fact that everything's going to be contaminated for a while. Okay, take shelter as soon as possible, regardless of how far you are from the impact. Radioactive fallout can travel hundreds of miles. As soon as you're safely inside, remove the outer layer of your clothing. Remember, everything is impacted and contaminated, hence being what you're wearing as well. So in your emergency kit, it's not just about food and water, but you need clothing in there as well. Okay, what to do once you found shelter? Get the fallout as far away from your body as possible. Too much exposure is not good. Removing the outer layer of clothing, as I shared, to reduce the amount of contamination by fallout can help by up to 90%. If possible, do so safely. Put all contaminated clothing into a plastic bag that you keep away from others and pets. The clothes may still be emitting radiation. So these are just more things you're thinking about adding to your emergency kit. Are garbage bags, plastic bags that you can put those clothes in and not touch and separate them from everything else. Do wash, take a shower Wash your hair, wash your body, wash your skin. Lots of soap, lots of shampoo. These are other things to add or to have so that you can rinse yourself off as much as possible, ridding yourself of the contamination, okay? If your pet was outdoors, they can still be covered in fallout, so you need to also wash them as well. Wash your pets, wash your dogs, wash your cats. They may not like it, they don't understand what's going on, but they need to be rinsed off as well, okay? Keep windows, fireplaces, make sure all of fans, everything off. You don't want to continue circulating that radioactive air into whatever shelter that you are in. Okay, now to cope. Now this is big because once we're so busy up with taking care of all of this stuff, this is where our mental health really starts to like break down on us. Right? For some of us, we can get so busy in busy mode. And then once we are able to kind of just sit for a minute, all of the feelings and the emotions are like, now we have time. Now we have time to surface. So practice your emotional well-being skills. What are those for you? It's really important. If you don't know what those are, find out what those are for you. Be mindful of boundaries, trying to stay plugged in and keep plugged in with the news and keeping up with what's going on. Take care that you're getting information from credible sources and that you limit the amount of information you are listening to or allowing to come in. Because you want to help your mind relax and ease up from being in crisis mode. If it stays in crisis mode continuously, that's where our bodies, we start to get sick. We start to get sick, like physically sick from like colds and stuff like that. And we start to get sick with anxiety and depression and all the other mental health disorders that can occur. Okay? Pay attention to your emotional health, remembering that many different feelings are going to be coming up and they're all common. Please remember that you're not alone with this. And you might need time and patience to put all your feelings and thoughts in order and recognize when you or those around you need support. Okay? Monitor your physical health. When sheltering in place for more than a few hours, remember to eat, to rest, and to regularly take your prescribed medications if you do take some. Focus on positive actions that you can take right away, such as just taking inventory of emergency supplies, obtaining accurate information, and providing support to others as well as yourself, and just taking a break. Okay, so I appreciate each and every one of you. And I want to quickly share as I come back here. I think you can see all of me and nothing but me. I want to quickly share. I so appreciate your time. This information is so important. And for me, and there's so many different aspects and places where we need to be inspired, uplifted, and encouraged. And some of the information shared is meant to help us, even through crisis mode. This information I shared today, my intention was to help you to be aware of how to keep yourself safe, okay, as well as how to keep yourself focused and grounded and connected in crisis mode with all of the aspects of your well-being. Okay, so if this information is a refresher for you, I'm glad you tuned in. If it's something completely new for you to think about, please watch this, review this as many times as you can. Get your list out, get your clipboard, your pad of paper, and write out this stuff. Go old school. Remember, like, we're in a place now where the major attack upon all of us is just completely wiping out our access to get connected or connect with each other. So this is why it's always good to go back to our humble beginnings and have things written down, have a plan written out, have calendars on hand, have compasses, real actual compasses and pocket knives and things tangible, because we may not have access or liberty to just look up, you know, something really quick on our phone to find something, because we might not have access to our devices, right? So this is something that I want to encourage you. I don't want you to how do I want to put it? I don't want you to feel like woe is me. It's all gloom and doom. We have to learn how to operate in the mode of love and not fear. And so this is where I'm encouraging you to be informed on what to do, to how to take care of not only yourself but your family and your friends in case something like this occurs. We are living, once again, in exciting and challenging times. And once we know how to take care of ourselves through a variety of different things that could occur at any moment, the better off we are for ourselves physically, as well as mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Okay? All right. I appreciate your time so much today. I thank you to anyone who happened to be tuning in at any point, or you're just curious about about this topic. Here at Core3, we trust and believe that the information we share is encouraging, uplifting, and inspiring. We are here to help you stir up more love, less fear. All right, we're here to help you to operate in faith and not fear. All right, so please do know and remember this always, that you matter, you are worthy, and you are loved more than you realize. And if in any of those areas you're having some issues with, please reach out to me. Let me help you gain an understanding of how much you matter and why. How much you are also worthy and loved beyond what you could believe. All right? Here at Core3, we are sending out nothing but good vibes your way, reaching out and touching your hands wherever you happen to be. Know we're in this together. I so appreciate you. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and I look forward to speaking with you again next Tuesday, where we'll talk about another amazing, exciting pieces of information to keep you informed, uplifted, and inspired. Many blessings.